everybody. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Quiet Riot Show. This will be episode 1. I guess that's what inaugural means, though.
That's right.
Is that what it means?
Yeah, episode usually.
What's the actual definition of inaugural?
I'm not going to attempt to.
Can you look it up?
I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that word.
I'm looking it up. What does it mean?
First of many.
Inaugural.
That's the way I would say.
Marking the beginning of an institution, activity, or period of office.
There you go.
So, I mean, this doesn't really qualify.
Well, I mean, when the Winnipeg Bombers had their inaugural game, is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's when they had their first game, right, of at the IG Field.
I think what we're learning here is that we are not professionals at anything.
That's right.
So I think we're going to talk about a lot of things, and we've probably lost you already. So if you're still here, I'm sorry. We are not professionals. We are two guys, two friends talking about men's mental health, and this is just opinion based, and I'm sure we'll share some facts that we find online, and we'll try and make sure they're as accurate as we can. But we're just going to talk about our stories and our feelings about those stories. So
yeah, no, I'm actually really looking forward to this. I've been wanting to do this show for quite a while now, and I went through some crazy time that I personally never believed in. Anxiety and depression to the level that I've experienced it. And it really affected my mental health, affected my marriage, my relationship with my kids. So I really want to get my story out there and hopefully kind of talk about the things I went through and how I dealt with everything. And, I'm doing really good now. And so hopefully we can help some other people as well through the show.
Yeah. If there's even a little nugget of information that comes out of listening to this, I mean, that's helpful in itself. And I'm excited to learn from the people we're going to talk to. Yeah. And so today you're talking to me, so I'm not going to learn anything from myself. Actually, I probably will.
You never know. Sometimes just talking about things might be like, that's why I felt like that.
Yeah, so it's good. So today we're going to, I guess, in a sense, I'm going to tell a bit of my story or one of my stories, and you'll probably have some questions or whatever, and you can ask me whatever you like.
Yeah, so let's just go through a little intro, just so our audience knows who we are.
Oh yeah, guess we could have done that before.
That's okay, but this is good. Like we went right into a conversation, which is really good. But so let's introduce. I guess I can introduce you, and you can introduce me.
Sure.
Why don't we try that?
Go for it.
We didn't practice this at all, so
do it.
So our today's guest really is going to be interviewed is a very good friend of mine. His name is Tim Dirksen, and he is are you okay with the last name?
Yeah,
okay.
Of course. Yeah.
He's an entrepreneur. You've been an entrepreneur your whole life.
I grew up in the atmosphere of it. Yep.
So, which is I find it really cool because I'm just touching on that whole new world.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about that next episode.
Absolutely. You've got into a new different ventures over your year. I guess you went to different ventures throughout your entrepreneurial world and life, but we're not going to really talk about that too much. I want to know a little bit about your personal experiences with dark, shitty times, and we're gonna have fun as well. We're gonna
it sounds super fun,
right? We're gonna have some fun. Obviously, like we kind of both you and I went through certain things, but like we also deal, or I guess we have a good sense of humor, I believe, and it's some people believe that could be a coping mechanism as well.
Oh,
like
100%.
At least for me, it was, sometimes have an awkward moment, so I just joke about it, and it makes me feel more comfortable around it. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll get into that in the interview, how making ridiculous jokes save me.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of them, and some of them we might not be able to touch on.
Not on this show.
Not on this show, but yeah. Anyway, so it's I'm looking forward to this episode actually, and this way. So Tim, by the way, my name is Tommy.
No, I was going to introduce you.
Well,
but go ahead. You do your own.
That's going to be the next episode. Yeah, you're going to introduce me as a guest.
Okay.
See, and again, this show is messy because we are not professionals.
Life's messy.
But yeah, exactly, messy. Right? So we're just, here to hang out, and in future episodes, we're going to have some more serious episodes, and some will be less serious, but we're all here to have a good time and create a safe space. And I know you love that word.
I fucking hate that word.
I know you love that word.
Why did you? I thought we said we weren't going to say that.
Well, too bad.
And because you're the producer of the show and you edit it,
I can do whatever I
want. You bastard. One of the things we're going to do on the show, and I'll explain it before I do it, but eventually we'll stop explaining it, is a check-in. And let me explain how this came to be. So my wife, I'm a little hard to read as far as my emotional state, my mood, my thing. I'm pretty steady, and so you might not know if I'm having the worst day of my life or the best day. I'm a little stoic in that sense, and so people find it hard to read me, and my wife finds it hard to read me, and so we came up with a number system that allows her to understand where I'm at in that moment.
Yeah.
So it's a 1 to 10.
So 1 being miserable.
1 being this is really, really bad, or 10. I don't know what a 10 is. I've never been a 10. But
oh, come on.
No, I'm serious. I've never once answered 10 when she's asked me that.
Okay.
If I seem off or if things are weird, she'll just look at me and go, "Hey, like, what number are you right now?" And then I respond. And if it needs to, I'll tell you that my almost always number is 7.
Okay.
It's almost always 7. I think a couple of times I've been an 8, and a lot of times I've been a 6 or a 5 or a 4. I've never really answered below 4 because I think below 4 to us is like that's a problem.
We'll talk about the when you were a 1.
Yeah. So anyways, that's the check-in system, and so I think it's a very clear way to either spark a conversation or to get a gauge on somebody.
Yeah.
And as long as you answer honestly, then you actually are establishing pretty quickly with someone that you know and someone that you understand what their number system would mean to them means. And we're going to ask our guests that, and we're going to explain it a little bit to them. And it's actually been such a super helpful thing in my relationship with my wife. Like, it's crazy.
So like for us, I know about this check-in stuff from work because they always tell us, like, before your shift, try to make sure you check in, make sure you're present, put your phone away, like, just so you avoid any mistakes on building the parts or just an injury, right? So from safety standpoint. So they always ask us to check in before you start actual work. So I think this is a good way of kind of approach the episode. So why don't we check in right now?
Sure. Okay, checking in. Tommy, what number are you what should we do? Day, right now, week?
Why don't we go
What's your average for the last week?
To episode, yeah. So this will be a bi-weekly episode.
Because there's a lot of ups and downs. So let's just, I don't know.
Overall?
Today?
Sure.
Today.
Yeah,
what number are you today? Because the last 2 weeks will impact how you are today anyways.
Yeah, so today, I am a solid 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a really busy week, and I've been exhausted. We're going to talk about this in next episode, but I don't sleep a lot during the week, so weekend is my way of catching up. So as it's Sunday, we're recording this, so Sundays are usually a good day for me because it's very focused on family and friends, and hanging out with you it's really good for my mental health. And I had a great day yesterday, so
sweet.
Yeah, it's about a good solid 7. Yeah,
7's good.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Probably a 6.
6.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think a 6.
Okay. Why is that?
We're doing this, and you're a part of it too.
Are we going to talk about it?
Well, I'm explaining why I'm a 6.
Okay.
So May 1st, we started a metabolic reset diet. Diet? I don't like that term, but metabolic reset. So
it's giving your body a little
I've been doing
restart.
And this is like telling people you do CrossFit, but I've been doing keto for like 2 years. My body has responded amazingly to it. But like since my wedding last October, I've been a little more loose. I used to do a cheat day a week, and now it's like, fuck it. I feel like eating French fries, and like I did that for too many months, and so I started to slip too far out of that sort of that routine and that discipline I had, and so my wife is doing a big sort of her own reset. Yeah. She asked me to stop drinking for a month, which sucks.
So we'll talk about your drinking habits.
Sure, that's great.
And this is I don't think it's a negative.
I
drinking
guess we're here
habit.
to be honest.
That's right. And again, like I said, it's not a negative drinking habit.
It's just a habit.
Yeah, it's a habit. You know, just like some people smoke, some people.
Oh, I do that too.
Oh, you do that too. Oh, no, but like some people eat candy, and you know, it's their way of, just living life.
Yeah. So anyways,
no judgment here.
This has been the first week. It's for the month of May.
Yeah.
So we're recording this, what is it, May 7th today.
Yeah, so these episodes will come out later, but
so it's been a tough week making big adjustments, not drinking. Drinking is a big accessory in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going out, being social, having meetings, chatting with people, meeting at bars.
Yeah, we're not talking about you getting blackout drunk because
you're
sad.
No.
Yeah,
it is a part of my life.
That's
and
right.
So
social
whether
drinking,
you view that as positive or negative, we can talk about later. But like, it is a big part of,
that's right,
a big accessory to my social environments. I've been to 2 bars this week and had to order soda water with lime and lemon.
Actually, I did that too.
And that shit fucking sucks. I don't like it. It annoyed me. It made me grouchy.
Yeah.
And then the diet change, which has been great, and I'm fine with it, but like, it's a shift. It's a big shift.
Yeah.
It affects your mood. It affects your
100%.
Not drinking when you drink some amount every day affects your sleep. It affects the way you react to things. Yeah. So it's been a tough week in that sense.
Yeah, you're running around all day, and sometimes you just need to sit down and have a drink, right?
Yeah, have a whiskey. I just want to have a fucking whiskey. Yeah, and this diet, to stick to the rules, you can't even drink diet drinks.
Yeah.
No diet pop, no or soda, whatever you want to call it. So it's like water and coffee and black coffee.
Yeah.
And I love coffee, but I like whiskey more. And bubblies are gross, and they all taste the fucking same.
See,
when you're drinking 10 a day.
I love them.
I've been drinking like 10 of them a day,
and
they all taste the fucking same by number 3. And I fucking hate them. They're awful. And I'm gonna keep drinking them because I got 3 more weeks to go on this bullshit. Yeah. But like, fuck, it sucks. I don't like it. So that's why I'm a 6.
Okay. That's fair. So normally we would do a guest intro here, but we already kind of did that for the first couple episodes. We're just going to talk about you and I and our stories of dealing with mental bullshit.
Yeah, I think it's fair for us to share ours before we
absolutely
show me yours, show you mine kind
That's
of
right.
situation.
And again, like I said, this show is going to be fun. So even though we might talk about some dark things, we're going to try to make it a little more fun. And hopefully you guys get a couple laughs out of this as well, because you and I, we do that.
That's a huge part of what we do.
So why don't we go back? Just a quick story. Like, you and I met through we can say a mutual friend. You were part of another podcast, and
you're a part of it now.
Yeah,
you're like a part of the show
now.
I'm not. You are though.
I mean, I just like speak up every once in a while.
Yeah, you're more a part of it than you've ever been.
And then my audio gets taken out.
It could be because we're using your studio, but never mind that.
But so, anyways, you were part of the show, and I was a listener, and we've ended up meeting, and we've became really good friends. At least I hope we're really good friends.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we see each other more often than with anybody else, really, during the week.
Yeah, I see you, of all my friends, I see you more than anybody else.
Yes. But,
except Sam. I see Sam more.
Well, yes, yeah.
That's a different
Shout
situation.
out to Sammy. She's awesome. But yeah, so we've met, and we kind of, when I met you, you were just kind of going through a breakup, and you were dealing with your emotions and everything.
Yeah.
And so and along the like throughout the years, I went through some shit, and then you've helped me. So I think it was really, we have a really good exchange of words, conversations, and just kind of help each other deal with some bullshit.
Struggle. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
Yeah.
Struggle can be such an unbelievable opportunity for bonding with people.
Absolutely.
And creating and nurturing friendships. Like, we're being with someone through their struggles in an honest and sincere way is like nothing can bind you closer together than that. Mm-hmm. I believe that. Yeah.
Well, you feel shitty. Let's feel shitty together, right? And then you kind of you get on this path that you're traveling alongside your buddy, and then we all have our lives, but we kind of get back on the same track with mutual interest.
You find your people through struggle. I think. Mm-hmm. I believe that.
Yeah, for sure.
I found my wife. I found you. I found my friend Dave and his family. And
so why don't we get into tell us a quick story about really. I mean, I'm not sure what happened prior to that, like what your mental state was as you were growing up.
Yeah.
Do we want to touch on that a little bit, like as what family you were brought up in?
And I think we're gonna get to the listeners and each other. We're gonna get to know us really well over time.
That's right.
And so I think I was thinking about this, and what I want to focus on is there was a particular milestone in my life that started off as a really negative thing and led to an unbelievable thing. And I don't want to focus so much on the details of that entire story, because I just don't think it. I think what we're here to. I think what we're here to do is to like highlight sort of moments throughout that story, chapters, if you want to call it, and like I want to talk about how that affected me and how I felt, because I think that's why we're here. Is not so much for the story itself. Like the story itself, to me, looking back on it, I have my own emotional traumas around it or whatever, but like it's just one of the many situations I've had in my life where I felt dark. This is just, to me, the most recent and most significant, that, especially looking at the outcome of where I started with it and where I went and what I am now, the most significant change in my life because of this situation.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Alrighty, so let's get into it. So you went through a crazy breakup.
Yeah, so I was in what I would call, I thought was the last relationship I'd ever be in. Mm-hmm. I think that's the easiest way to explain it. So I thought this was it. I had put a lot of emotional energy and investment into that. This was was the person I was going to be with forever. Then it kind of didn't play out that way. We had years together that were really, really great, and everything was awesome, and I didn't notice red flags at the time. Also, when you're in it, it's really hard to see them.
That's right. Yeah, sometimes you're just in a relationship and you focus on the good things, and sometimes you don't want to look at the,
you don't want to see them. You can actually the mind has an unbelievable way of like pushing those things away.
That's right.
When you just want to feel a certain thing. Yeah. And so I would say I probably ended up with a little bit of that mental gymnastics. But anyways, so it got to a point, we were together for a long time. It was great. Everything was happy. We were on this path together. And then there was something that happened one night where it kind of got weird. Yeah. And it got real weird. I should say that part. So I had dropped her off at a party at some house with people from her work or something. I didn't actually know. I was just like, yeah, cool, I'll drop you off, I'll drive you. Which, me being a DD is it's a big sacrifice.
That's right. Yeah,
I was like, I can be the DD tonight.
Yeah, that shows commitment to the relationship. If you're willing not to drink, cool.
I'm doing it right now, actually. So I dropped her off at this party. she said, come pick me up at this time, no problem. So I'd killed a bunch of time, went back later, and I'm texting her. She comes outside. She's like, I want to keep partying. And didn't invite me in. Like, fine. I'm not saying you have to invite me and everything, but like, I drove all the way across town to come pick you up.
A little red flag,
when
right?
you told me to pick you up. And at the time, I didn't think anything of it.
That's
I'm
right,
like, oh, she's having fun. Cool. She didn't invite me in to meet these people. That's a little weird, but sure.
Yep.
But you didn't at the time. Like, this is all hindsight, right? So I'm like, all right. So I'm just like, well, what do you want me to do? She's like, I'll take a cab or I'll get someone to drop me off. I'm like, all right, cool. Sounds good. I guess like you could have told me that before I drove all the way out here, but here we are and you're wasted. And so what?
Yeah.
Like I chalked it up to she's drunk. She's having a good time.
Yeah.
And great. These are like new friends ish, like work people she's never really hung out with outside of work. So I'm like, oh, cool. Have a good time. I'll see you later. We lived in separate places. We didn't live together.
Oh, okay.
So I drove back and I thought, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll go to her house and then like I'll hang out with the dog. She had a dog.
Yeah.
I'll hang out with the dog.
So you guys had like access to each other's houses. Yeah. But you just didn't live together.
Yeah. So I went to her house and I was like, oh, and then she'll come home. She'll be drunk. I'll make her something to eat. Like just do a nice.
Take care of her.
Yeah. I'll do a good boyfriend thing.
Yeah.
So I do that. So I go and then it's like fucking late. It's like 3 or 4 in the morning. Yeah. I'm still like watching TV, hanging out with the dog, having drinks. And she shows up and I'm there and she's like, oh, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I thought I'd hang out with the dog and take care of it. Like, just, I wanted to see you at the end of the night. Mm-hmm. Like, no, I just wanted to see her.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay. And she was kind of being weird. Yeah, it was weird. So,
did she bring someone home?
Yes. I think so, yes.
Oh.
So then she got weird. She left the room. Like, she was kind of rude to me.
Okay.
And then she left the room. And then the car left the driveway. I could hear it leaving. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, but whatever. I don't know. And so she was kind of rude and she like...
You ruined her night.
Apparently. I know. I'm such a dick. How dare I hang out with the dog and want to look after my drunk partner?
That's horrible.
But in the moment, I'm just like, okay, this feels weird, but whatever. And so then she comes back and she's just kind of being rude to me. Mm-hmm. And she wasn't a rude drunk. So I was like, oh, this is weird. So we like hung out a bit and then she made like weird sexual advances on me, but it wasn't like normally it would have been. It wasn't our normal thing. It was very strange. And I just like popped out of the bed and I was just like, you know what? This is weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but this feels really weird. So I'm just going to go home. I'll see you tomorrow. So I just left and went home. I didn't really think a lot of it at the time. Mm-hmm. Like, again, you're not, when you're happy, you're not thinking that these things are even a possibility.
Yeah.
Cool. So I go home, I go to bed. Next day, she's like not really talking to me much. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And so like she was kind of like, you develop those routine things you do with your partner.
Yep.
Where it's like, oh, every morning on the way to work, she always calls me and we have a quick chat about the morning while she's driving to work. Like that week, she wasn't really calling me in the morning, and she was like distant and weird, and so.
All of a sudden, you started looking at those signs.
So now I'm starting to see it. So now I'm starting to feel like, okay, something's off. I don't know what that is, but like we're in this, and so like what we should talk about it.
Yeah.
So we talk about it. We get into this conversation probably a week later after it's been kind of weird all week. She's been distant, whatever. And so I bring it up. I'm like, well, what's happening? She's like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, no, you know what I mean. Like, cut the crap. We're not 16 years old. Like, we're adults.
That's right.
Like, what is this? And she's like, I don't really know. I'm not like, I'm feeling weird. I don't know what I'm going through. Like,
so she was basically, she wasn't telling you straight up what's going on, just kind of going around the topic.
And in the end, she's lying about it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, okay, well, I love you. I don't know how to help with this or what I can do to facilitate making this better, but like I want to, and like this is a good thing, and we can, so what? It's a speed bump. We're gonna have a lot. Like it's a speed bump.
Any relationship has that.
We're gonna have a ton of these over the rest of our lives, which is what I had thought we were in.
Yep.
And so, but I was starting to feel in those moments, I was feeling really uncomfortable. Because
Mm-hmm.
I was starting to actually I had to accept that something was weird.
Yep.
And then your brain starts going, and you don't want to assume the worst, but your brain just runs scenarios. At least mine does.
And usually, yeah, I think naturally your brain goes there, right? Like goes to the worst.
It wasn't the first thing, but it got there.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, and every little weird thing that week that wasn't normal, and I don't think I was blowing it out of proportion. Like I had to sit back and assess that myself too. Like, am I making a thing out of this?
Yep.
Is this nothing? Is she just having a tough week? Like, what's going on? So that's how I felt in that moment. And then
Have you talked to anyone about it? Like any of your friends?
about
like what's going on
like
with
during
her?
that time?
Yeah.
Yeah, not yet at that point.
Okay.
And so
So this was just you trying to figure out by
I was
by
just trying to
yourself.
it's only a week, like, and
Yep.
I've always viewed these like relationship situations like if it's shitty for 6 months,
Yeah.
if we're together forever, what the fuck is 6 months?
That's right.
Pretty small in the grand.
Wait
the big
till you hear
scale of
my
things.
story. So
Okay.
yeah.
Good. So at that point, and then about a week later, we were talking, and it was getting weirder. She's like making other plans. She's not available all of a sudden. She's not really telling me where she's going, what she's doing, which, like, I'm not looking for you to, you don't have to tell me everything you do. I don't care. I'm not I'm not the like keep tabs on my partner stuff. Like, if I trust you, I trust you. And
Well, and you guys
I
weren't
don't-
living together, so
yeah, like,
it's
you have your life,
yeah,
I got mine.
yeah.
Cool. Like, I'm busy, and you want to go hang out with new friends you made. That sounds great. Like, I'd love that. So that was what was happening. And then a week later, we tried to talk about it, and she's like, I don't know. I just blah, blah, blah. It was a bunch of bullshit in the end.
Yep.
And so then it was a few more days of weird. And then she's like, I think I want to just like take a break.
Yep.
I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean take a break?
From
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, right? Like me, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
that's what she's saying is
Yeah.
like, I don't want to be around you.
But she's never said it directly though.
No, it would have
Yeah.
been nice if she did, actually.
Right? At least you know what's
Because, like,
going on.
really what they're saying is like, you're not qualifying for what I'm looking for right now. So, like, I don't want to be around you right now. Like, that's how I'm hearing it.
Yeah, give me it's me, it's not you
Yeah,
bullshit.
right?
But at least, like, at least something.
Yeah. And so that like was very hard to hear. And I was just like, I didn't know how to feel. Like, I was just confused. I didn't understand. So that was happening. So then now it was a problem. Like, it wasn't just a thing. Now it's a problem.
Yeah.
Like, oh, is this relationship going to be over? Like, you don't want to think about that. Like, but like, what's a break? A break is someone telling you like, I don't want to be with you.
That's right. Yeah.
But in the moment,
I want
you're
to
like,
go try something else
Yeah, like-
and see if I like it. If
Yeah.
I don't, I'll come back to
exactly.
you.
Like, that's what
bullshit.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
It's not like I need time to myself.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Who is he? Like, who's
yeah,
he?
yeah.
Why is he better than me?
Yeah.
So that's the things that I'm starting to think about is like, oh, this party thing, and you start piecing these things together.
Yeah.
But you still love this person, and so you're like, okay, well, what kind of, like, what do you need?
Let's figure shit out.
How's, like, okay, you need a break from me, and you're not even thinking like, oh, you just want to go fuck a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to bring logic to it. Like, oh, okay, well, you got divorced, and like maybe you didn't have enough time in between that to like figure out whatever. I don't know. You start making excuses in your head, even though this person has given you no sign up until this point that was something they wanted to do. Fine. So then I called in some friends, and I was like, I had to talk to somebody about it.
Yeah.
And so talking to my friends, and I went through 2 or 3 different friends and a couple of people, and it was actually just all proved to be way less helpful.
Oh.
Like, it just made it worse.
Yeah.
So like one of them said some stuff that pissed me off, and the other one is uncomfortable with people crying, so he wasn't capable of handling it. And he literally would say that, like, I don't know what to do when people are crying.
I mean, you got to appreciate the honesty.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You're not the guy for this.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be potentially a lot of this.
Yeah.
And so I tried another friend, and it actually he had his own struggles going on, and it actually made him worse. And so, like, spending time with him and trying to sort of heal through this or work through this just made him worse. And so I was like, well, I can't be around you. Like, I'm just making your life shit. And so
and it's not helping you. So,
it's not helping me at all.
Yeah.
So while this kind of goes on for a week or two, and there's a lot of like weird, and her and I really aren't talking much, and whatever.
Well, and your emotions were probably going through
all
a roller
over the
coaster.
fucking map. Yeah. Well, and then she would be hot and cold in moments, so she'd be like the normal her in some moments, and I was like, oh, this is okay, good, we're making progress here. And then she'd be a twat, and it was like, oh, what the fuck are we doing here? So so then it finally came to and there was other stuff in between, blah blah blah. Finally came to a head, and she actually just broke up with me.
Yep.
Over the phone. Yeah. You're with the person you think you're going to be with the rest of your life, and they dump you over the phone.
I mean,
pretty fucking pathetic.
It would be more awkward at a dinner.
I don't know. Yeah, probably. But
I'll eat this nice meal and then be like, thanks for the meal, by the way.
Yeah,
we're done.
I know you were going to get dessert, but how's this for dessert?
Right.
So over the phone, and I broke down.
Yeah.
Like the second she actually said it, I broke the fuck down.
It kind of, the reality hits you, right?
Oh, like a fucking
this is
train.
real. Yeah, this is happening now.
And so I'm by myself in my condo, and I'm like, I break down. I literally hit the floor. I'm sobbing, and I'm like asking her, like, we're still on the phone, and I'm like, why the fuck is this happening? And like, blah, blah. And she just hangs up.
Ooh, cold.
I'm like, all right. Which, like, she was over it.
Yeah.
I guess. So, like, why would she want to?
Well,
like,
yeah,
she doesn't want to help me through.
enough.
She doesn't care enough about me. She doesn't give a shit about me. And so, like, okay, well, that in hindsight, that makes sense. Like, no, I said the thing I wanted to say. You're not valuable to me anymore. So, like, click.
I don't care what.
Then she texts me. She's like, "It's too intense. I can't handle that." And I'm like, "Ah, you should date my other buddy who can't handle people crying." Maybe you are. I don't know. So that was the biggest. I think I've had friends die. I've had people close to me die. I've had relationships end before, as we all have. We all have lots of them before we, get to the one we actually stick with. Maybe, I don't know. But I've never with people dying. They're gone. Yeah, they died. They're not telling you. I don't want you anymore. I don't want to be with you anymore. I found someone better. I found something better. Like, that's really what's happening.
That's right.
And so it's a pain you have to like live with in a different way.
That you're not good enough for that person. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it kind of makes you question yourself too sometimes.
Oh, like, man. Like, I spent weeks like dissecting everything I'd ever done with her and trying to figure out, like, how the fuck did we end up here? What did I do? What did I do? And you blame yourself. Yeah. Or I blame myself. I shouldn't say other people do, but my story, I blame myself. Yeah. And so I knew I couldn't be alone that night. Mm-hmm. And it was late. And so I got in my car and I drove to my buddy Dave's house, who I had connected with. I've known for a long time. I'd known him for a ton of time. But never close. We were never actually close friends. We never, like, it wouldn't make any sense. If you were all my other friends, it made no sense that I went to his house to them.
That's right.
Yeah. And so, but I felt this thing. I just felt, I was like, oh, I have to go to Dave's. Yeah. And so Dave and Candace are now family to me. Yeah. And they lived close. And so I just like got in my car and drove there and just knocked on the door. I was like, and it was like, I don't know, 1 a.m, but
I'm sad. Hug me.
Yeah. I basically knocked on the door. I'm sobbing uncontrollably, and I'm just like, I need to be here. Yeah. And they're like, come inside. And so.
And they're like, people that don't know David Candace, they're just fantastic people. That's how they are. They open the door to really.
Doors always open.
Anyone that they know, and you feel like family right away. Yeah.
So I just showed up at their house, and I really don't have a lot of specific memories from that first week. I was just drunk. Yeah. Like, I just drank until I fell asleep, and then would wake up and do the same again. Yeah. I wasn't sure how long I was going to be there. They said, stay as long as you need. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know what I need. Like,
well, being by yourself
in that moment,
not good for you.
No, it was not a safe. It was actually at that point, it wasn't a safe thing for me to be doing. Pizza Oven is dedicated to the highest quality pie that the whole family can enjoy. With their amazing sauce and freshest ingredients, the Pizza Oven is here to provide quality and a great tasting pizza to Winnipeg and East St. Paul. They use a delicious blend of mozzarella cheese, make the pizza crust daily, both thick and thin, and their meats are proudly provided by Winnipeg Old Country. They're located at 1215 Henderson Highway, Unit D in Winnipeg. Visit their website, thepizzaoven.ca, and order online, or give them a call at 204-949-3000, because everyone's loving the Pizza Oven.
So when you say it wasn't a safe thing, do you want to talk about that a little bit? Like,
sure.
What was going through your head?
Just, you want to get out of it.
Yeah.
You just don't want to feel that way.
Yeah.
Like I felt so destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
I've hated myself. I hated everything. I didn't want. I felt destroyed.
Yeah.
There was nothing there. There was nothing left of me.
Like, was it? And did you feel like that because your feelings of not being good enough, or just feeling like you were trying to figure out this relationship? Like you, and like when you have I think when you're going through a tough time in a relationship, both sides need to work on it, right?
Of course.
So you thought maybe that's what's happening, but really you were trying to do all the work, and I think she was trying to find excuses, and then eventually you felt like all this effort you put into trying to make it work, it was all
for none, because I was actually working. I was trying to work on something that no longer existed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it just wasn't safe for me to be by myself. I certainly had thoughts of self-harm and not wanting to. I didn't want to be alive in those moments. I just didn't feel like there was any point. And so
did you tell Dave and Candace? Did they know how bad it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
They knew how bad it was. And so they just said, stay as long as you need. So that kind of I was like, okay. And it was just days of drinking and sobbing and drinking and sobbing, and it just continued. And she was communicating with me a little bit through that still.
Okay.
Like she would text me, and it was awful.
It just probably made it worse, right?
Oh, it made it way fucking worse.
So what would she text you? Like, just would she
she actually started texting me that she
like,
was, and like she'd start texting me like how she was struggling with it. I'm like, what do you mean you're struggling with it? What are you talking about?
One that
like
broke it up.
You did this.
Yeah.
Like you created this problem. And again, I think in hindsight, I don't know why she would say that. I don't think she felt that at all.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. She's just being a bitch. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll never understand it. And I'll never talk to her again, and so I'll never have an opportunity to get the truth about it.
Yeah,
that's the other thing that sucks.
Yeah,
you never get that chance.
You know what? So just a quick story. Like I went through a breakup like that with a friend. So I had my best friend. He was the best man at my wedding. We were like brothers. And then, he was struggling. He broke up with his longtime girlfriend. And then, so I was like, hey, dude, we have an extra bed. Stay as long as you want. And, we thought it's going to be a couple months or whatever, which is not a big deal. It was 6 months, then a year and a half. And like my parents, because I'm from Europe, my parents were coming for a visit. I was like, dude, I need the extra bedroom. Maybe it's time for you to like look for your own place. And he's like, okay, no problem. He moved out. I've seen him once.
Really?
And I kept messaging because it was like this guy had a toothbrush at my house, and like we were super close. And I'm like, hey, dude, what's going on? Is that
the closeness gauge, the toothbrush?
Well,
is that part of it?
I guess so. Yeah, like he literally like had a toothbrush at because he was at my house every Friday and Saturday.
Yeah,
like we would just like that was a thing like before kids. Yeah, let's grab some drinks, and we would be whether playing video games, having a fire, whatever. Doesn't matter. Like it was always like it's me and Joey. We're doing something.
Okay, and that was before you had kids.
That was before, yeah.
Oh,
and then we had kids, and then like he was still actually we already had my daughter. Yeah, we already had my daughter, and so that's when this happened with him, and then so he just left one day. But anyways, the point I was trying to make is that for the longest time I was angry. I'm like, holy shit, like what did I do wrong here? Like, why did I say something? Was it because I kicked him out? Was it because I was becoming friends with another who's a really good friend of mine now. But they were a couple, so we were doing couple things, and he was single, and he just jealous, and I was beating myself up for the longest time, and I was like, holy shit, I really want to know what went wrong. But then actually that friend of mine that I became really good friends with him right now, his name is Trevor, shout out to him, he's awesome. He actually told me, he's like, you know what, Tommy, you did everything you could do to be his friend, and whatever his issue is, it has to stay his issue.
Yeah.
There's nothing you did wrong, and you can't beat yourself up over it.
Yeah. But in the moment, it's really tough to not.
And I know, so you kind of said, like, you kind of want to know, like, what the fuck happened with your girlfriend, you know, like, why she left, why she acted the way she was. Is it something you did wrong?
Yeah.
But, like, at the end of the day, just from what you're telling us, that you tried to make it work. From what I can gather, she was trying to explore something new. Yeah. And maybe it didn't work out for her.
It didn't. I found that out later.
Nice, which is great. And at the end of the day, it took you to somewhere where you're right now, and you're extremely happy, and you have such a better life.
Oh man,
than you probably would have ever had with her.
It's a weird thing to that everything happens for a reason thing.
Right.
Well, when you're in that moment, fuck that. That's bullshit.
You don't want to hear that.
That doesn't fuck you. Don't say that to me. Don't even hint that you don't use those fucking words. It to me.
Yeah.
And Dave and Candace never really did that.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of let me do and be what I needed to be when I needed to, and just made sure that I was like, they took care of me. They loved me, and they cared for me, and like Candace's mom lived in the house, and she was so sweet, and their two boys, and like I needed all of that.
You needed a family.
It was going to take that whole family to like help me get out of this fucking shit. And so I ended up living with them for 4 or 5 months. 4 months, 5 months. I don't know, something like that. I didn't sell my condo or anything. It ended up being my closet. Once I actually started going back to work, like I would live at their house, and then I would go in the mornings, I would shower, change, and then I would leave. And I hated being there. I fucking hated being there. I'm glad I've sold it since. And it was just a long, hard process. And so at one point, I remember Dave, I think it was Dave, I don't know, I was really drunk, and suggesting that maybe I should go see a therapist. Mm-hmm. And I'd never seen one before. Okay. I'd never been to a therapist before. I have friends who have been and gone and had different amounts of success, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if success is the right term, but different experiences with it. Some very positive, some not. And I was like, fuck it, what do I have to lose right now?
That's right.
Like, I'm drinking every day and hoping I don't wake up. So like, something different needs to happen. I can't just keep doing this. And I'd gotten to a point where I had accepted that. Like, this is not my life. Yeah. This is not what I can leave my life to be.
Did you kind of realize that on your own, or did you have some guidance from friends?
I had support from friends.
Like somebody told you, hey,
but I did actually,
you drink way too much.
At the time, I didn't talk to anybody. Mm-hmm. The only people I really talked to was who was in that house. Yeah. That's it. Okay. I didn't.
So did they ever say,
I shut out. I really shut out. I made my world extremely small. Yeah. And it upset a lot of people. Mm-hmm. My friends were super upset, and I lost a number of friends, like long time, what I would consider good friends, which maybe actually isn't, because a good friend wouldn't do that. Maybe
good friend would give you space,
and be understanding. And even though you didn't go to their house, like I had friends that were mad I didn't wind up at their place. They're like, well, why'd you go to Dave and Candace's? Why the fuck are you asking? Like,
I'm doing better now.
I'm here, and I'm still here. So like, you're welcome. Like, I don't know what to say to that. So anyways, so I lost some friendships through it, and in those moments, you don't give a shit. You're just like, I don't give a fuck about anything. No.
At the end
cool.
Of the day,
you want to leave me? You want to leave me like she did? Sounds great. Like, I'll go through 6 breakups. Like, fuck you.
No, you need to take care of yourself.
Yeah,
and no matter what way you're doing it, at the end of the day, if it helps you, then that's the proper way.
That's what I had to do. Yeah, and so I just had to do whatever it was that got me to tomorrow. Yeah, like that's what it came to. It was just like, what's going to allow me to get to tomorrow, and I just did that, and then all of a sudden, like, so I went to the therapist. The first one I went to see turned out to be awesome,
Okay.
which I know a lot of people don't have that same experience. A lot of people try numerous therapists,
That's right,
and they don't. I'm curious why. I'd like to talk to people about that as we do more episodes about like people switching.
Mine was the first one too.
Mine was awesome.
Yeah.
Dr. Bruce was the shit, and like he was so calm, and he was just like he asked the right questions. He listened to me. Like that's their job. I understand that, but I just felt good with him.
Yeah.
And so that was helping. And so then it was like more about like thinking about 2 days from now, actually thinking about tomorrow, and that tomorrow like. Okay, what am I doing tomorrow? Whereas like up until that point, there was no tomorrow. It was today and that hour, that minute, and slowly that timeline starts to stretch out, or it did for me through the healing.
Yeah.
And so like when I was actually thinking about tomorrow, to me that was like I'm a smart guy. I, despite the cloudiness in my brain at the time, like I was like, oh, I'm actually thinking about tomorrow.
That felt like a progress.
It felt like huge progress, and
a step towards the right direction.
And then it's like going to see Dr. Bruce, and it's like, okay, well, I have an appointment in 3 days, and then it's like, okay, see you in 3 days, and it's like, oh fuck, I have like cool, I got something
to look.
I got something happening
to.
in 3 days, like
yeah.
And so that started. It finally started to feel. I was still doing the same things, but it started to feel like we made a tiny step forward, and that tiny step felt like climbing over a mountain at the time. And so that was great. I was so happy with that. And through that, so Dave and Candace.
Sorry, before
go ahead.
When you said that you decided to reach out to a therapist, how long did it take you from like you telling yourself that yes, I need, like agreeing kind of with yourself, yes, I need one and I'm going to do this, until you actually made the phone call?
Oh, it was like a day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So my case was different, but we'll talk about it.
I get super impatient.
Okay.
And so if I want something, I want to get it. I want it, and I want it fucking now.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm going to go see a therapist. And then I think I was in his office that same week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was just like, this can't wait. I've already decided I want to do this. So I was still buried inside there somewhere.
Yeah.
Calling some of the shots. So besides the booze, calling the shots, which was fine. So yeah, that, and then things started to change more rapidly. Like I was on a healing path. I had started doing. Dave and Candace had a podcast they did every day, and if I was alone for some period of that time, if I was alone for longer than 20 minutes, I'd start sobbing.
Yeah,
I'd get in my own head and I'd start sobbing. I needed distractions. I needed this and that, and they knew that, and so every night they would go downstairs to do their podcast, and it was like, you'd be down there for 2 hours, and I was like, that's the worst part of my day, is the 2 hours they go do their show.
Yeah.
And so the one day they're finally like, hey, do you want to come downstairs and just hang out while we do it so you're not sitting by yourself? I'm like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah. Because they would always start it after everybody had gone to bed, essentially.
Right.
So the house was quiet, and it's like, I fucking can't do quiet. Yeah. Quiet's not going to work for me right now. So I was like, yeah, sure. And then Dave sticks a microphone there, and he's like, well, if you can sit here, and if you feel like saying something, say something.
Kind of like what you guys are doing to me now.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna let you, because you listened to the first time I was on the show. I would believe so.
I'm sure I did. If
you might not remember.
Yeah, I might not remember. Like, yes, that was a long. What was that? 3 years ago? 4 years ago ish.
2019.
Yeah, so it's
was it 19?
Almost.
Yeah, it was 2019. Yeah.
So it's 3, almost 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think I remember exactly the first one, because you kind of jumped on.
I don't either.
Yeah, I think we should. One day we should.
Let's get the audio from it.
We should get the audio. Yeah.
Actually, we can get the audio and plug a quick clip into this show.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that at the end.
Sure.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have a little bonus.
That's right. But I don't. All I remember is when you started going on that show. The show got, not that it was a boring show, but you brought a different element to that show, and I think you using your what should we call it? Like a your shitty situation that you were in. You turned that around, and I think that kind of helped you with coping as well, because you forgot for the hour or the 2 hours that you were recording, you forgot what your problems were.
Yeah.
And you were focusing on the topics that you guys were discussing. And again, like, you brought a different humor into the show, and
I would say
it was absolutely hilarious. And I think me personally, I absolutely fell in love with you, and I know a lot of people made jokes about that on the show, but everybody else also like loved your character as because you weren't on there as Tim, you were as somebody else. Nobody knew who you are. I was
the sad Jaguar.
Yeah, you were the sad Jaguar.
Or I still am the sad Jaguar.
And
it's stuck.
But it was I think it was a great addition to the show, and I'm really thankful that you joined there, that you went through this thing, because I would have never met you.
Yeah. So you get to a point in that, and I'll get to the end of this soon, but you get to a point way later on where you reflect back on the whole thing. Mm-hmm. If you get through it and you find a better place to be, you look back on the whole thing and you see why it happened. Mm-hmm. You see, like, oh, I wouldn't have any of this without all this.
Yeah.
This shit happening. I often say, like, I'd love to write a thank you letter to my ex and the guys she fucked and whatever else, because it's like, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today. And like, you can only do that in hindsight if you came out the other side better, because if you didn't, then people don't.
Yeah.
People don't come out the other side.
No.
Never mind better.
Yeah.
Like, and so I started doing the podcast. It was like the best thing for my mental health. Actually, that podcast was as valuable or more valuable than therapy for me, because it was therapy
absolutely,
for me.
For sure.
And it gave me this reprieve from my thoughts, from my brain. And also it gave me this thing I love doing. Like, I was a singer in a band, and I love being in front of people. I love talking. Like, maybe it's narcissistic, but I'm I love being not the center of attention, but like, I like to talk. I like to sing. I like to perform.
Entertain.
I like to entertain.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was this thing that I hadn't done in a long time, and that was buried down in there. And they gave me an avenue to do that. Mm-hmm. And it was super fun. I just said whatever the fuck I wanted. I made disgusting jokes and told disgusting stories of things I've done, and like, it was super fun, and I was just honest.
Which,
like,
we're not going to bring it to this show.
That's not
if you
for
guys
this show,
want to, if you guys want to hear that story, there's different ways we can talk about it some other day.
Yeah.
But but it was great. It was very entertaining what you've done,
and it was fun for me, and it was a light for my, like, it was a little bit of light in my,
you were moving up,
dark day, and I was starting to feel better. I was starting
crawling out of the hole.
Yeah. Well, and then I started thinking about like the show, and then I started like thinking about the next episode. What are we gonna make? Like, what are we doing? And then I had some purpose.
You were kind of stretching. You said you were looking forward to 2 days.
Yeah.
1 day, 2 days, and then eventually it became a bigger.
Yeah.
Help me out here.
It gave me a longer window of reality.
That's right.
Of excitement for the first time, and so. And I got to work on something. Yeah. I had a purpose. I felt like I had a purpose. I had a job through all this.
Well, and
the job was a job, but like,
you stopped,
and I did a shit fucking job for a while, but
but that kind of helped you to stop thinking about her.
Yeah.
And the relationship, and like move forward.
Actually move forward and move beyond. Yeah. And so then it gets to a point where you're actually like starting to feel that things are going to be better off. Mm-hmm. And like, I met my now wife.
I was just gonna bring that up,
like, because it was funny at their house at the time. There was people in and out of their house all the time. Yeah, and like,
again, open door policy, right?
Like, they had their own struggles in life going on, and then all these other people would come over who had their own struggles going. I mean, we all have struggles all the time.
We all do, yeah.
But this ended up being this, like, we called ourselves the Misfits because it was just a bunch of people who had some fucked up shit going on. Yeah. And we all found solace in like being around each other. Mm-hmm. So that's how I met my wife. Yeah. She was there. She had gone through some shit, and maybe someday she'll come on here. And I don't know. We're maybe not. I guess we're a men's mental health.
But maybe.
Whatever. I don't know. We've talked about bringing our wives.
That's
on,
right.
But, I think that like meeting her and then meeting now my daughter, and like having that experience, and like the healing, once I got to a healing mode, it happened so fast.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, like I get impatient. So like if my brain gets to like, okay, we're getting the fuck over this. Like I hit a milestone where like I was finally like, okay, it's time to move the fuck on from this shit.
Yeah.
But it took a long time to get there.
Absolutely.
And meeting Rachel and Autumn and you and all these people through that process, like drove that home for me.
Yeah.
And so like then it was like, okay, we're fucking moving on, and like this enough of this shit, because every day that you're struggling and you're weak and you're broken and not being who you can be or doing what you're capable of doing because of some fucking thing that
happened,
you're just giving that power. Yeah. Like all I was doing for months, and I wouldn't say I regret it, but like I was just giving too much power to this thing that destroyed me.
Yeah.
Like why would I do that? It's like Stockholm syndrome. Like you start feeling like these things about your captor, and it's just like, no, you don't get to do that to me anymore, and I'm moving forward from this. Then you start to actually heal. Then the healing really begins. And for me, it started and it happened quickly. I was doing the right things to get there quickly.
Yeah.
I was seeing Dr. Bruce. I was confiding in my friends. I was meeting new people. I was building a friendship with who now is my wife, and you and all these people, and like being supported in such a great way. Mm-hmm. And I was like doing this podcast, and I was having success with that, and all these things were like clicking. And it's just at a certain point, my brain just wouldn't let me live in the dark anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
And I almost wanted to, because it was comfortable.
Well,
it became comfortable.
I wanted to ask you, like, I guess at some point you had to move out from Dave and Candace, because when your mindset was kind of already healing, now you being there probably was reminding you why you were there. So in order for you to move out of there, I had to actually
change the environment again.
That's right. Yeah. And like it's nice to see that process, that like it's not that you don't like them or anything. It's just now you went there for a reason.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to forget that reason, but maybe something was still reminding you. But yeah, that's how you move on.
Yeah, for sure. The darkness became really comfortable. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, this is my routine. This is my life. I drink every day. I wish I don't get up tomorrow. I fall asleep on the couch, and then tomorrow I'll do the same thing, and I have these people around me. But at a certain point, that becomes unhealthy.
That's right.
And so then you have to, okay, this is actually now, it was the everything to me. It was the solution.
Yep.
And now it's actually, if I continue to do this, it's going to become a different problem. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so I started making that change. I started, spending a few nights at my condo, and some of them were pretty tough. And it was like, because now you're readjusting back into this other thing that has memories of this other thing. Yep. And so you want to be careful you don't get stuck in some shitty loop.
That's right.
But like, I was trying it, and I was doing it, and I was checking in on myself, and they were checking in on me, and I was still doing the show. So I was like still you were there
daily
all the time to be a part of that. But like, I wasn't living there. I was now actually existing on my own some of the time.
Yeah.
And so that was great. And once that, like I said, like once my brain and my heart decided that like healing needed to happen, it all started to fall together pretty quick. Yeah. And so I think I had spent months sort of setting that up, not knowing I was setting it up, but it was happening. And then like when you actually are clear enough in your head to see it, then you can just take advantage of all that.
Yeah.
And so I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. If you were to run into her right now, like today, like on your way from this studio, let's say you go to Sobeys shopping, and then like she stops you like, "Oh, hi Tim, how are you?"
I would just walk away.
Oh, would you?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I would like go there, like give her a big hug. Thank you. Thank you for leaving.
I've thought about that situation a lot. Like it's Winnipeg, right? We're not a huge city, and like we're 700,000 people or something.
Yeah.
It feels like it's 7,000. Like
that's right. Yeah.
I've thought about that, and it actually shocks me I haven't.
Right? Yeah, it's been
ran into her ever. Like I have never seen her since. And it's a fucking gift. But I know at some point it is inevitable that I will see her, and like I'll just to me, I'm just gonna move along with life like she doesn't exist.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to talk to her. I have nothing to say to her.
But if
there's no closure. There's no closure that's
yeah.
gonna come from that.
No, yeah.
If she approached me like we were at the grocery store and she's like, "Hey," I'd be like, "Nah, no thanks." Like that's all it would be, and it wouldn't be rude. It would just be like, "No, thank you." Like I don't need to have this conversation, and I would just move on with my day. Yeah. And it wouldn't. I think I'm far enough out of it because it's been years.
Yeah.
That like I actually don't think it would bring me back too far back to that. Like for a moment, for sure it would.
Yeah.
And I would feel a whole lot of things in that moment. Yeah, but I think it would clear really quickly.
I think that part of you that was always questioning it, like why she did this.
Yeah.
Right? I think that part of you is still in there and maybe would pop up.
I don't think you'll ever. And I don't think I'll ever, because I'll never know.
Yeah.
And so it'll always sit there.
That's right.
But I'll also never know. And like, my life is fucking pretty awesome now.
That's right.
So
I was just gonna say. It's at the end of the day, you have a beautiful family. You guys are absolutely fantastic, and you're happy together, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, like I got so many amazing things out of this that like the struggle. I'm not gonna say it makes it easier looking back because it doesn't, but like it was such a. I feel so blessed that I was able to get through that, get out of that. Become a different type of man because of it, and the person I became is the person that I'm happy with and I love, and like that's a great thing. I wouldn't say I'm generally not a happy-go-lucky outlook on life kind of person by any means.
You don't skip around.
There's a lot of darkness buried within me, and we'll probably unpack some of that over the episodes of doing this.
I'm sure we will.
But like, I feel satisfied to a certain extent.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say I'm very happy that she broke your heart because I got to meet you.
Me too, buddy.
So, and here we are doing this show together, you know, and I'm really excited. And I think we can wrap it up for this episode. I hope you guys really enjoyed the first episode of the Quiet Riot podcast.
Whose idea was it for us to interview ourselves? It's terrible.
I know.
I just want to ask people. I don't want to talk about it. Too late now. It's out there. Or it will be.
That's right. But so we do have an email. You guys can contact us at the
what is it? Quiet Riot Show?
Quiet Riot Show at gmail.com.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still it's new. We're going to get better at this one, but our episodes are going to be on Apple Podcast and Spotify and everywhere. So if you would like to rate our show, go ahead and please do so. You can send us an email about your story if you want us to read it.
If you want to share
thoughts, on it.
Or if you want to be on the show.
If you want to be on the show and share your dark stories, when you dealt with something crazy and shitty, let us know, and we'll make it happen. If you're in Winnipeg, if you're outside of Winnipeg, we can zoom you in, no problem. So we have the ways to do it. And so again, thank you for sharing your story. Again, like I said, it's amazing how something horrible can turn around in your life, and now you have a daughter that you never thought you would probably have, right?
It worked.
And a beautiful life.
It all worked out for me, and I hope it works out for everybody who has that kind of struggle. I know it doesn't for everybody, and I'm sure we'll have some of those chats on the show as well, but it worked out for me, and I'm so grateful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
awesome.
Cheers. Okay, thanks guys for tuning in, and
next time. Next time I'm interviewing you next time.
That's right. Oh, God.
Yeah, here we go, buddy. Now it'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
All Quiet Riot Show episodes have been recorded and produced by SuverMedia. If you think you have an idea for a podcast but don't have the space or proper equipment, please visit SuverMedia.com for more information. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please hit the follow button and leave us a review if the platform you are listening on allows you to do so. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Quiet Riot Show, and follow us on the Instagram page at Quiet Riot Show. Please share this episode with others that may be interested in these topics. If you know anyone that would enjoy these topics, feel free to share our podcast with them. Also, let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. get in touch with us in the comments on our channel and social media, or send us an email to quietriotShow@gmail.com.